Hey you guys, welcome back to Lisa and Company, or welcome if it's your first time here. Today we are doing a whole bunch of dollar store Easter inspiration. But before we get started, would you guys do me a huge favor? I am grateful for every single one of you. Would you head down to the description box below and hit that subscribe button, and don't forget the notification bell. It really helps our channel grow, and better yet, it tells me what content you're enjoying so I can make more of it. I think it's time to get started. Okay, I have 3 dollar store bunnies and a whole bunch of materials to give these guys a makeover. Now, initially I started with these 2 and I was looking for a third. I went to 6 Dollaramas to try and find it, and no luck. I've got popsicle sticks, I have contact paper, and I even have AstroTurf. We're gonna have some fun with these. Before we can get started with these guys, we got to trim a whole bunch of stuff off. They've got whiskers and stakes, and there's a tail kind of off to the side, which between you and me seems like a strange place for a bunny tail. I am just using my tin snips to get these guys off. It did create a couple of sharp edges, but I just gave them another trim where I could, or I used the rough side of my sanding block to fix it up if that didn't work. Okay, so bunny number 1 is going to require a whole bunch of these gigantic popsicle sticks, craft sticks, whatever you want to call them. So I am going to do these in 4 different colors, but I'm not going to paint them. I want to create more of a stained finish. So I'm going to water each of those down. First thing I'm going to do though, I've laid these out to see how many popsicle sticks I need approximately, and I'm going to divide them into 4 little piles and go ahead and stain away. Now, because I'm a little on the impatient side, I tried to use my hair dryer to make these dry faster, and oh my goodness, you want to see some craft sticks fly. Once I had them all back together and once they were actually dry, I went through and trimmed off all the little edges and then trimmed them into different lengths. I wanted these to be irregular, almost like I had taken a whole bunch of pallet wood, because that's what I'm calling this bunny, a whole bunch of pallet wood, stained it, and created a really cool piece of home decor. Now, if you've ever tried to do something and make it look random, you know as well as I do that that means you have to work extra hard to make it look random. Are you following? So I'm going to go through and just carefully lay out all the different sticks in different colors and really try to create something where I don't have too much repetition and all that fun stuff. So watch as I randomly, air quotes, put all these pieces down, and then we're going to glue these down and get done with this bunny. All right, to glue these down, I'm going to use my fine tip Schwar Bonder glue gun that Izzy gave me for Christmas. You guys, I love this one so much. The good thing is, because this bunny is a grid, I can go ahead and just put a few dots down and get that stick down quickly. I don't want my glue to dry. Then one by one, we are just going to get through these from bottom to top, and we are going to have one seriously cute bunny when we're done. And once all those pieces are glued down, I'm going to flip this guy over, take my regular glue gun, and put a pretty good chunk of glue on the back of that to make sure those pieces are well stuck down. Now, I did get a little bit bleed through of the glue coming through the back, but we're just going to scrape that off and try not to do any damage to our stained finish. I have a pair of, I don't know, some would call these like kitchen scissors. I've always referred to them as trauma shears. I got them from a nurse, and they seemed like the best thing to trim off all these extra pieces. Now, I could not think of a better way to put these pieces down. I think trying to cut each individual piece to match these curves would have been awful. So I decided to go about it this way, but if you guys had a better idea, head down to those comments and let me know how you would have tackled this. Now, remember I told you guys you need to be following me over on Instagram? Hop on over there. It's Lisa and Company DIY. Make sure you follow us because you would have seen the Studio of Shame before I started working on it. Well, it's no secret that every bunny needs a fuzzy tail, and I have this ball of wool I have used for about 1,000,000 projects on this channel, and I am just going to make him a really fluffy tail. I totally forgot how many. I think I just kept wrapping until I was losing the feeling in my fingers. Then I simply tied another piece around the middle, trimmed the edges, gave him a little bit of a haircut, and stuck him right on. I love how fuzzy this tail was. I looked at a whole bunch of different yarns that I had. I even looked at them in different colors, but I decided ultimately this dude needed just a classic white tail. I'm pretty sure I have referred to this bunny as he about 4 times, but somewhere along the way I decided that he was she and needed this really cute little paper flower up on her ear. I just thought the juxtaposition of the palette wood and the flower was really cute. So what do you think? I ended up going back and giving this palette wood bunny a little bit of a dry brush and some white paint, and oh my goodness, I love her. So when I was scouring our local Dollaramas for more of these bunnies, I found these adhesive sheets of AstroTurf. I don't know what made me think it would make a cute bunny, but I did, and I am so excited to make this one. Now, we do a lot of things with moss on this channel and in YouTube in general, but the AstroTurf just has some kind of weird, quirky, retro quality, so I'm kind of excited for this. Now, I was even more excited because I bought 2 sheets of this and there was no more, that I managed to get the entire bunny cut out of the one sheet, which means you guys are going to see another DIY with the AstroTurf somewhere on it. Once I had this all traced out, I just cut it out with a regular pair of scissors, and the best part is because it's adhesive, I'm going to be able to peel it off and stick it right on. So here's what I will tell you. Number one, it was messy. Just like working with moss, when I cut it out, it sheds, for lack of a better word, and it kind of goes everywhere. So if I was to do this again, or when I do this again, I would do it over a container, just so that, well, it's all over the floor in the studio now, right? It's like 2 steps forward and 1 step backwards. But let me tell you, totally worth it for this bunny. Now, this stuff was super sticky, and it wasn't until afterwards that I thought, this is probably meant to be used outside, so it's got a really good outdoor worthy adhesive on it. Well, I had black adhesive all over my hands. No biggie, I did manage to get it all off, but as I was working with it, my fingers were sticking to everything. Little bits of the AstroTurf were sticking to my fingers. It was actually quite comical, and if you could hear what was going on, there may have been a couple of bad words, but mostly there was hysterical laughter. Once I had that attached, I pressed it down on the reverse, and I did exactly the same thing with my full-size glue gun. I just went along all the way around the perimeter and a few places down the middle to make sure it was really well stuck down. I didn't want these edges peeling back in a couple of Easters from now because I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep this one around for quite some time. Somehow, from the very moment I decided to use this AstroTurf, I knew this was going to be a pretty bunny. I have a actually paper bag full of tiny little bits of greenery left over from other projects or just pieces that have come off projects over time. So I gathered these together. I think there's 3 different kinds of greenery, a few different kinds of flowers, and I just sort of put it on off center, more off to one ear than the other, and I just love the way it looks. She is so pretty. Just watch and see how she comes together. Hello, anybody see I'm using my finger protectors that I never ever remember to use? I wanted to do something different for the tail on this one. Fuzzy just didn't seem like the right way to go, so I actually used one of the dollar store eggs and cut it in half. She may be the prettiest little Easter bunny I ever did make. So you guys, if you've been following me over on Instagram, you know that this studio that I work and film and create in has been a complete and total disaster. I would like to say it's not entirely my fault, but to give you a little bit of background, I moved from a 3,000 square foot house where I had tons of space to spread out and store things to about 1,000 square feet last year. And unfortunately, everything we didn't know what to do with got put in this studio. Now this is a small room, it's about 9 by 12, so organization has been kind of important, if you know what I mean. So I have been working on that like crazy, and I don't know if you noticed, but I have finally gotten to the point that I unearthed my Lisa and Company sign. I've got my shelf up on the wall, and it is starting to feel like my studio again. I'm actually kind of hoping that I'm going to get to the point that I can share this with you and share some of the fun things that I have found to organize and basically fit my stash in a very small place. So DIY number 3 is actually DIY number 3 and 4, and you're going to see why in just a sec. Now, I told you guys I couldn't find any more of those cool mesh bunnies, but I did find this guy, and he was a similar shape, and I thought we could totally work with this. Now, I'm just going to pry off a couple of extra pieces on here, and of course, I'm going to save them because you never know. I'm going to scrape them down a little bit, and I am going to go around the edges because the paper sort of hangs over a little bit, and I'm just going to sand that off. Now, I'm going to be using the Dollar Tree contact paper, and check out that price. That's right, peeps. In Canada, we are noticing a whole bunch of our products going from $1.25 to $1.50. I have never used this beautiful black and white contact paper, and I have no idea why, because you guys know my love of black and white. So this doesn't really have a pattern direction, so I'm going to use it sideways. I'm going to use those lines on the back to cut off what I need, and this is so easy. That's kind of why I'm calling it DIY 3 and 4, but more on that in a sec. I'm just going to start peeling the backing off this at the top and very slowly and carefully work my way down. Then I'm going to take an X-Acto knife with a nice sharp blade and just start trimming around the edge. And again, this is one of those slow and careful moments. I don't want to cut the sign because, well, you're going to have to wait and see why. But I want to get a nice clean edge on this, so I'm just slowly going around and working my way through all of those different sections. If this beauty doesn't scream farmhouse, then I don't know what does. And what more could she possibly need but a beautiful black and white buffalo plaid bow? Now, guys, I am not a big bow person and I am not a bow making expert. There's lots of good tutorials out there for that, but I ended up making a 6-loop bow and I'm just using a tiny piece of twine to tie it together, and then I'm going to glue it on. I happen to have, and actually from Dollar Tree, the most beautiful white peony, and I'm going to put that right in the middle. Now I know it's a little early for peonies, but oh my goodness, they're my favorite flower and I could not resist. Now, I've always been honest with you guys and shared my fails, and you're about to see one coming up. It's not obvious at the moment, but when we go to finish this off, you're going to see exactly why it was a fail. Oh my goodness, I absolutely love this bunny, and now you guys are starting to see why I was having a really hard time picking a favorite. And now it's time for my bonus bunny. I'm using the wood grain contact paper to do the other side of this sign. Now, the fail, you say? Yeah, I should not have attached that bow until I was finished. Other than that, the process is exactly the same for this guy. What I did do though, I made sure that the wood grain was going from top to bottom before I attached it. I think a sideways wood grain on this one would have looked a bit funny. Now, on this bunny, he definitely needed a twine tail. And better yet, I decided to unravel the 4-ply twine to make him an extra fluffy tail. I'm just loving my bonus bunny. You guys, thank you so much for stopping by Lisa and Company today. I really hope you enjoyed these Easter Bunny DIYs. And you know what I'm going to ask you to do. Yep, I want you to go down to the comments and tell me which one is your favorite. I'm not going to lie, I'm having a hard time this week figuring out which one it is. Now, I have a really exciting video coming up. I'm hoping to get it out earlier than a week from now because I am super stoked to get it done. You guys responded to my Dollar Tree 3 ways like crazy. It is one of my most viewed videos. So guess what? Yep. We're doing it again, and we're doing it completely differently, and it's gonna be a biggie. So when that video comes out, make sure you know because you've hit that notification bell, and grab a coffee or maybe some tea, sit down, sit back, and enjoy. I hope you guys are looking forward to it just as much as I am. We'll see you next time. Bye. Here's a couple more videos for you to enjoy. I hope you check them out, and don't forget to leave us a comment on this one or any of the others, and if you feel like it, we'd love for you to share it with your friends. We'll see you next time, guys. Thanks for stopping by Lisa and Company.